All right, so welcome everyone to Pioneers in Engineering's Q&A session today. It's 2:10 now, so we can begin this session, start rolling. But basically, for those of you who don't know what Pioneers in Engineering is, we are a student nonprofit on campus, and basically what we do is try to provide STEM educational experiences for a lot of students in the Bay Area who don't necessarily have access to these kind of resources. And so usually our main flagship program is an 8-week robotics competition that we host for local underserved high schoolers. And we basically build this competition from the ground up. So like we code all the software that the students use. We design all the mechanical and electrical components that they use on their robots. We design the curriculum, even the game that the students play using their robots. And so it's a very collaborative experience. You not only get to help the students, but you also get to gain a lot of technical experience of your own. And so today we have a wide variety of Pi staff here to answer your questions. Hopefully you guys got the chance to look at the videos that were posted on the EECS website to get a better working knowledge of what Pi is besides my brief explanation. But I can start the introductions of the Pi staff. I'm Karen. I'm currently the director of Pioneers in Engineering, and I used to be on game design, so I was part of the team that helped design the games for the robotics competitions.
Hello everyone, I'm Steven. I am the current Director of Hardware Engineering for Pi. I used to work on the electrical team, so designing all of the sensors and motor controllers, etc., that they need to use to have a robot function.
Hi, I'm Daniel, and I'm currently part of the runtime team in Pi, which is a software team where we take care of steering code execution and communication between the steering code and devices.
Hi, I'm Ashwarya. I've been part of the mechanical team for the past 3 years. And on the mechanical team, we build and manufacture the parts that the students use for the competition.
Hello, I'm Jesse. I currently work on the game design and implementation team. So make the field, make the game the high school students play on, all that jolly good stuff. I've done other things. I was director last year and hoping to graduate soon, but you know.
But yeah, now the floor is open for you guys to ask about any questions that you may have about our organization or just life on the Berkeley campus in general, because as Berkeley students, we definitely have a lot of experience with that. All right, I see there's a question already. I'm assuming this organization engages in volunteering. Yes, we are definitely a volunteer organization. We definitely pride ourselves on being able to do outreach for students who don't necessarily have a lot of, I guess, resources to access STEM education. And so although we do a lot of volunteering and outreach, we also do a lot of engineering kind of stuff just to make sure we can do that outreach. Does anyone else have something to add? Ooh, there's another question in the chat. Any transfers and how is time management? So I don't believe any of us Pi staff right now are transfers, but we do have plenty of transfers in our organization. And as for time management, I guess for me it's a little more difficult just because I'm part of the leadership structure of the organization, so I do have to put in more work. But I think for most staff, it's usually 4 hours a week because we do hold 2 meetings every week, which are 2 hours each.
The pretty classic answer that we give for time management as far as the club goes is you get as much out as you put in. So if you can put in more than 4 hours if you want, but that's totally dependent on what you can manage and handle for yourself. Just you do what you think is best. To add on to the transfer student question a little bit, there's definitely been a number of transfer students that have joined, and most of the ones I've talked to, they say they really enjoyed joining Pi because they're able to like find a community. A lot of times it can be kind of rough going from like community college to, you know, this 40,000 person university. So it's just kind of nice to be able to like ask your buddies in the club, like, hey, what the heck even is this class? You know, just all that good stuff.
We can move on to the next question then. What does the member distribution look like? So we do have a pretty diverse range of members here. Basically, I would say that we do have majority CS or EECS majors, but we definitely have majors from not only other engineering majors, but also majors outside of engineering. So for example, I'm a cognitive science major and Ashwari is also a cognitive science major. So there are plenty of non-STEM or like more, I guess, social sciences, humanities majors in our organization.
Yeah, we're one of the few clubs in Berkeley that don't require any like we don't expect any prior experience in any of our teams. We will teach basically everyone everything, so from the ground up. For example, like in the electrical team last year, I think there was a bio major, a math major, that have basically nothing to do with what electrical does, and they're still able to successfully, like, you know, help us do what's required for the year because we just teach them everything that they need to know, and they gain the skills along the way.
So I see Jessica has a question. What does the application process look like to join? We actually don't have an application process. We are an open organization. So as Stephen emphasized, we don't require any prior knowledge for you to join our organization. We teach you everything that you need to know. If anyone else would like to jump in on that, feel free.
Yeah, I think that's. Oh, do you want
Go
to
for it. You got
Okay.
it. You got it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of a big thing here at Berkeley because a lot of clubs require some kind of application process. So, and they can be rather strict with it, especially for freshmen. So it's kind of discouraging, at least it was for me, applying for clubs and not being able to get into any single one of them. And then coming to a club like Pi, where it's just no application and you still get to do all this cool software work while, well, at least in my case, while still being able to like meet new people. It was pretty neat, at least in my case.
Yeah, some other clubs require you to like write essays or do like 2 or 3 rounds of interviews, and then, you know, we'll have like a 10% acceptance rate or something. Um, but to like put things in perspective, the like no application process is like very uh, relieving.
We have a question from Aiden. So for engineering undeclared, what is the best way to get to know different engineering fields? Talk to seniors, projects, courses. What would be the best way to do that?
So I was actually engineering undeclared when I came in, and then I declared EECS. But for the first semester, I believe you have to take the engineering seminar. I think it's like, I forgot the course numbers, maybe like 92, 95 or something. But basically what that seminar is every single week, they'll have a professor come in from a different branch of engineering. So they'll go rotate through like EECS, Bio-E, Mech-E, etc. And they'll basically give like a brief introduction into their field. And of course, if one of those catch your interest, you can like reach out to that professor and talk to them more. Personally, I found it helpful to, yes, talk to different seniors, talk to older students. Uh, you know, I applied to a variety of different clubs when I first came here. I applied to some like to bio-e clubs, some EECS clubs, some mech-e clubs, and basically just getting to know the older students, getting to know their experiences about how their majors work. Basically, that helped me, choose, and eventually I just declared EECS. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd add on to that. When we're on campus, at least in my freshman year, there was this neat place where I'd go to a lot called the CAEE, which is like this nice little study spot. They have tutors and everything. And one of the other things they have are student advisors. And these student advisors are from different majors and have different experiences and whatnot. And they'll be able to like answer any questions you have regarding like your major, classes to take. And it's like it's pretty neat to talk to them, and they're pretty helpful with this kind of stuff too.
Jessica has another question. Are you able to apply what you learned from classes to this organization?
I feel like if you end up working in a project that is related to your major or your classes, then yes, your classes help with whatever project you're working on. But otherwise, like, there might not necessarily be like that much overlap, though you do get to learn something new.
I would say even in like if you were to take classes related to what team you're on, a lot of times what we do is a lot more practical than things that you learn in class. So in class it focuses on theory, unless you take like lab classes. But in general, Berkeley classes are more theory focused. Um, so there are cases in which we will use theory. So for example, for electrical, you have to use circuit theory to design the circuits to make them work. But most of what we do is mostly practical knowledge, very hands-on experience focused. So for like mech, it's like making gears. How do you make gears? How do you design stuff like that? Which you might not necessarily learn from your classes. Like for electrical, it's soldering. You might not learn how to do that. You get very practical experience from what we do that isn't necessarily found in Berkeley classes.
I'd say that for the software clubs, the CS classes you take help a good amount. Like for one of them, it's really helping a lot with my current project I'm working, which requires like threading and parallelization, which is some stuff that I learned in one of my classes. So it's definitely neat to see what you learn in class be applied to Pi, and vice versa. It's pretty cool too. At times it's prepared me even for what I'm learning in my classes.
Looks like we have a question for Mike. What time commitment are we looking at here? So we, as an organization, meet 2 times a week. So Wednesday 7 to 9 and Saturdays 1 to 3, and that's about 4 hours every week. Although during the competition season, when we actually do host our robotics competition for the high school students, it can get a little more hectic. So we do have events on the weekends in that case, and that usually is a Friday to Saturday evening, and then whole day Saturday commitment kind of thing.
And as I said before, if you like want to put in more time, be my guest. It's like totally welcome. A lot of people really want to like finish their projects and stuff before the very last minute or other things. So however much you want to do.
It really is all, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying the same goes for if you want to put in less time, if something comes up, if you have a midterm or just, I don't know, things aren't, like you don't have enough time to put into it, then we're very flexible. You can just talk to your project managers and they'll be very like accommodating.
But yeah, it really is just like how much time you want to put into it, because we are a volunteer-based organization and we don't want to like have you guys become like our minions and stuff. So it's really just like you putting in however much work you can in order to make our organization successful. Mike asks, why Pi? Does anyone want to tackle that question?
Like, why the name Pi, or why Pi? Like, why join Pi?
Why
Oh,
join?
why join? Uh, well, I'd say that for me at least, it has allowed me to like be able to work on these pretty neat software projects while still being able to volunteer in some sort of way, and it's helped like me meet a nice community of people that I can now call my friends. As cheesy as that sounds, it's true. But I also think like the volunteering aspect is pretty cool, because coming from like an underrepresented high school, it's pretty cool to be able to help out in ways that I wish like at least my high school had, like offering this robotics competition. I wish my high school had something like that. So it's pretty neat to be able to help out in the organization and the execution of such a event.
I think at least in my head, the like top reasons, there's no application to join. There's no background knowledge required, so we like teach you everything. Very few other clubs on campus are able to offer that, especially within engineering. So, and again, some other clubs make you do like interviews and essays to be able to join. We don't have any of that, so it's a very big plus. Um, and I think the last thing that makes like Pi pretty distinct from other clubs is our like large scale deliverable. Keep in mind our robotics competition is for about 18-24 high schools, so about 300 high school students. That's pretty large in scale, and that large scale plays into the fact that we have to put all the pieces together. Other organizations, not to say that they don't do work, they do good work, but having to have this like very real life practical integration of all the projects is not replicable in many other clubs.
I guess for me, I was a former Pi student, so as a high schooler, I did participate in Pi's competition, and I was like, oh wow, robots. I didn't know there was this kind of thing. But I guess like my experiences as a high schooler, which were like incredibly positive, made me want to join when I got to Berkeley. And so when I got to Berkeley, I was able to join as staff, and I really felt like I was giving back to my community just by being able to participate and being able to create something for like my own community back home in my high school. Mike has another question. Have you tried to collaborate with organizations like FRC?
Do you want me to take this one, Karen?
You can go ahead because I know you have your spiel ready.
Oh, okay. So Pi was actually inspired. So for context for everyone, FRC is a large-scale robotics competition that takes place throughout the United States, targeted towards high schools for the most part. When Pi was formed, they were inspired by FRC, but we wanted to do it on a much lower budget. So the high school teams that participate in Pi, their their like one-time fee is $100. So that includes the robotics kit, all the season events, mentors, all that good stuff. If you oppose that to something like First, a lot of the times that can easily exceed like $10,000 in cost. So we have had limited attempts to collaborate with FRC, mostly because the price point is vastly different. Even something like FTC is substantially more expensive than $100.
No problem, Mike. Where do we meet? Oh, that's a very I love this question, mostly because I can brag that we actually have our own club space on campus, unlike many other clubs who have to look into booking rooms all the time or like looking into alternatives, not permanent spaces. But for us, like Pi, we actually have our own permanent club space. And this is actually in O'Brien Hall. You'll probably see it if you come on campus, hopefully next year. But yeah, it's like our space. We always hang out there. We have lunch there. We hang like just like have fun. But it's also like our workspace in the sense that this is where all the magic happens for us to create the robotics competition.
Best couches ever. So soft.
Jessica asks what kind of projects we have. Okay, so we have a variety of projects in not only engineering but non-engineering fields. So for engineering, we do have a variety of software projects. For example, Daniel's on runtime, like he said before. And basically all these software projects help, we help integrate all the robots or all the robot functions and stuff, as well as the interface that the students use to code the robots. And then we do have mechanical and electrical projects, which help design and like create the components that the students use for the robots. And then in terms of non-engineering, we actually have a business side of things. So if you are interested in business, we actually have a team that's dedicated to getting funds for us because we are a nonprofit and we need a lot of money in order to operate this robotics competition. And we also do have game design, which basically builds the field and the actual game itself for the students to play with their robots. And there's also an education team, which is basically the team that creates all the curriculum for not only students, but the mentors that we get from the campus in order to send to these schools to help them with the robot. Looks like we have another question. How long does the annual robotics competition last? So this competition is about 8 weeks long, and we usually hold events on the weekends. So it'll kind of look like we have an event in the beginning of March, like the first weekend of March, and then every 2 weeks we'll have an event thereafter. And then a question of, do you guys teach K to 12? We primarily serve high schoolers, but we do occasionally try, or we're trying to do middle school outreach, but a lot of the topics that we focus on are usually geared towards high schoolers.
It just to add on to like the mentoring, since that was brought up, if y'all get the chance, I highly recommend mentoring if you guys have the time. Like it's very satisfying, very fun. And it's just really rewarding because you get to work with students to help like you don't help them, you don't build it for them, but you help them like kind of drive them towards accomplishing their ideas. And it's just extremely satisfying to be able to cheer for your like high schoolers and your team during the robotics competition. It's really fun.
This one is a spicy question. What are some of your plans after college? Ooh, do the seniors want to speak about this?
Wait, we fully answered the teach K through 12?
Do you have anything else to add on to it?
Oh, no, I'm good. I was just making sure.
Are we still doing Pie on the Road?
We are, maybe, but yeah, that was one of our efforts to try to teach middle schoolers.
Okay, but maybes aside, as for the what the heck we're trying to do after college. Well, I personally and Ashwara will probably answer this because we're both graduating seniors. I am hoping to look for a job right now. Unfortunately, as you know, the job market is exciting, for lack of a better word. But I know plenty of people in Pi definitely are trying to do like grad school or something similar. A friend of mine recently just got into my roommate just got into Caltech, so he is doing pretty well.
Yeah, and I'll be working in cybersecurity in the East Coast. So that's my plan for now. Do you guys want to add about what you think you'll be doing?
Great question. I'm currently thinking of applying to law school, but we'll see how that goes.
Probably not grad school. I don't want to go to school again.
I will probably end up in grad school, at least for a master's.
Well, we don't have many minutes left, so gotta rush. I'm so sorry for not having Zoom Pro, but these are the consequences of my actions. Okay, you see we have a question here, kind of off topic, but is there club rivalry? Ooh, that one's also spicy. I would say not really, because it's kind of, for us, it's like we really just do our own thing, and I don't think we as a club really care about it. Although, like, we are sometimes like caught up with the fact that a lot of these clubs are super competitive and seem to just not be inclusive for a lot of the undergraduate community. Any other add-ons? Do you guys feel like there's rivalry?
I mean, like we sometimes like jokingly have rivalries. There's another club on campus called Cal Sol. They build a solar powered car. They're a great club, or I can't speak. They're like a great club, good people. There's like nothing wrong with them. We just like they have like a similar like scale, and like they do a lot of training of their members as well. So sometimes we just like lose members to them. Great club though, but like, we're just screwing around.
I'll just say that I left Cal-Sol for Pi, so.
I left AFX for Pi.
Wow.
Okay. 2 minutes. Best places to eat. Every person say their favorite restaurant or something.
Plátanos.
Don't go to Northside if you want good places to eat.
Whoa.
We'll just put it there.
You tell me Bongo Burger isn't your favorite place, Steven? Come on. But like, in all seriousness, I'm assuming most people say like Sliver or Cheese Board is like pretty high up there.
Chez Panisse.
Zachary's.
Zachary's.
Oh, we have a minute.
A minute? Okay.
A minute and a question.
Oh my god,
Is there a
question.
ranking inside Cal? No, there is not.
Yes, Pi is above all.
Yeah.
Well, looks like we probably don't have time, but thank you guys for coming. And that was actually pretty fun answering your guys' questions. Hopefully we managed to answer them all adequately. So sorry again for not having Zoom Pro. But yeah, thanks everyone for coming. It was really great.
Good luck choosing schools, guys.
Choose Cal.
Choose Cal.
Okay.
Get this fella.
Do it for Oski, without a doubt.
Ooh.
Oh, big
Ooh.
baller.
Yeah.
Welcome.
hope to see some of y'all in Pi next semester.
Join Pi, join Cal.
It's a long minute.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's a